But in the end, I wound up right back where I started. I could still pick winners, and I could still make money for all kinds of people back home. And why mess up a good thing?
You play to win the game.
That's a W. Let's eat one.
Pay him. Pay that man his money.
Welcome to the Plus Odds Pod, the NBA playoffs second round preview edition of the Plus Odds Pod. I'm your host, Trent Silva, joined by special guest, second time on the show, Mike Proctor. Mike, how you doing today, my man?
Doing good, ready to talk some ball.
Yeah, I can't wait. I wanted to ask you though, it's been like 6 days since we wrote the obituary on your favorite team, the Lakers. How are you holding up?
After 3-1, I kind of accepted it. So game 5, it was kind of I was just saying my goodbyes.
Right in your early obituary, kind of.
Now watching Rudy Gobert turn into prime Wilt Chamberlain did hurt a little bit extra, but it is what it is.
Yeah, I know. That stings for sure. What do you have? 27 points, 24 rebounds?
Oh, something like that.
You try to forget those numbers, right?
Yeah.
Well, do you think we'll see LeBron James play basketball in a Lakers jersey again?
Yeah, he's gonna do one more year for sure, then call it, because I don't see him retiring. And if he doesn't retire, he's not gonna leave. I think a lot of people say, "Oh, he's not gonna leave." I think one thing, his son's still on the team. It's not like he's just gonna leave his son.
Yeah, very true. And LeBron, he likes the dramatics a little bit. I feel like he's gonna have his farewell tour. He doesn't want to just go out on a bad playoff exit. That's if there's one thing we know about him. I mean, the guy had 100 million people watching his decision to go to Miami. Like, he's a little flair for the dramatics. He likes that shit.
Yeah.
Well, all right, we're recording this on May 5th, about 24 hours after the Pacers won Game 1. Surprising upset, and about an hour before the Knicks Celtics tip off. Well, damn, now it's looking like 30 minutes. So we're going to be moving fast, but still giving the best content for you all that we can. By the way, we have a new website. If you haven't been listening, plusoddspod.com. I recently posted an article there where I wrote a few words on the draft, a few teams that I thought did a great job with the NFL draft, and one team I thought didn't do such a good job. So check that out when you get a chance. It's plusoddspod.com. Commanders fans, they may like what I had to say about their team. I'm accused of not doing that sometimes, so I have to let that be known. But what we're going to do today on this show is we're going to talk all 4 series of the second round. We're going to preview, break them down, talk about the matchups, talk about some injuries. We actually just had some injury news that Proctor broke before the show, and we will dive into that, talk about the biggest X factor in this series, who the series could hinge on, how well a certain player plays, and give some predictions, best bets, and probably get out of here. Let Mike get a hot take off his chest, because I feel like I kind of want to do that. All right. We can start in the East with the number 1 versus number 4. Number 1 seed Cavs versus the 4 seed Pacers. Entering game 1, the series odds were Cavs minus 500, Pacers plus 375. As I said at the top, yesterday the Pacers won game 1. And entering game 2, the Cavs are minus 225 to win the series. Pacers are plus 188. Mike, I know you watched that game yesterday. Did your mind change at all on how you view this series after what you saw yesterday?
It's a little bit harder when Cavs are going down with injuries, it seems. I would still take Cavs over the Pacers. I'm expecting Garland to come back. I know he has a toe sprain. They say if it was a regular season, he'd probably miss 1 to 2 weeks. I know he missed some games in Miami, and he missed the first game. So I think I'm expecting him to come back, and if he has to tough it out, he's just going to have to tough it out. I don't expect many. I think 1 for 11 from 3 games from Donovan Mitchell to keep happening. He dropped 30 plus, but it was on 30 shots, so that's never great. But I don't know, man. The Pacers, they're going to be a tough out always because they play everyone hard. I remember watching The Celtics series last year, they gave Celtics problems, even though it seemed like Celtics won it easily, even though that was a tough series. Bucks, they handled them pretty well. I know there are some games that come down to the last minute and that they seem to take care of in the clutch. But overall, I'm gonna give it to the Cavs still.
Yeah, that series last year has Celtics fans shook. I'm a Celtics fan, by the way, and Celtics Twitter, when they saw Pacers were winning that game, it's like, damn, we have to deal with the Pacers again next year or again in next round. Posting the meme of SpongeBob with Mr. Krabs telling a scary story, like how I'm going to tell my kids how the Pacers were in the playoffs. So yeah, it's a little worrisome. And for me, I'm kind of on the opposite side of you. Like I think the Pacers have a good chance in the series. I thought so before game one, especially with Garland being out. And you look at, I don't know, like the last 50 games, right? Pacers are 34-16 in the last 50, Cleveland 35-15. The thing that really gets me though is that the Pacers have been playing defense. When you look last year, they're a very fast-paced team. They kind of remind me of Alabama. If you watch college basketball, they're a track team, right? They just want to get out and run, and they want you to run fast with them. But before the All-Star break, the Pacers were 21st in defense. After the All-Star break, they're eighth. And they still run fast. They're second in pace among the remaining playoff teams since the break, and they're third during the playoffs, right? So still very upbeat, up-tempo team. And that kind of tempo is good for overs and player props. Since this is a betting show, I like to mention that. But I think if they can defend at that high level, right, and have that top half of the league defensive rating while also scoring the ball quickly and at will, like you said, they're going to be a tough out. And I mean, shoot, look at the end of game 5 when they came back versus the Bucks in OT. You mentioned that a little bit at the top. They were down 7 with 40 seconds left. And Nembhard makes a 3. Then Nembhard forces a turnover. And Halliburton remembers he can get past anybody, gets an and one with 17 seconds left. And they almost force another turnover. Bucks end up calling a timeout. If you remember that, Giannis throws it just into the middle of the court. And then Gary Trent Jr. has his fumble, and Halliburton, he snatches Giannis at the top of the key. It's ball game. But that just goes to show you how good this team can be when they're dialed in on the defensive side of the ball. Because the offense is already imaginative, and you look at Rick Carlisle, that offense is always clicking. And they also have 2 guards who can take care of the ball and facilitate offense and generate their own offense too. I thought that was on display last night. You look at Halliburton and Nembhard, combined 45 points on 16 of 25 from the field, 19 assists, 1 turnover. Like, those are solid numbers. And you talk about Donovan Mitchell, 30 points on 30 shots. Like, these guys, 45 points on 25 shots. I mean, they're very, very efficient. So I'm kind of there. You don't think there's any way they have a chance in this one?
Oh, they have a chance because I think the reason they have a chance is because the Cavs are having to pile on some injuries. I believe if both teams were healthy, I would take Cavs in 6, no doubt. I'm a little bit more hesitant because they're dealing with some injury. They're kind of asking Donovan Mitchell to be kind of what he was on that Jazz team when it was like, you're honestly our only like reliable scorer where you can drop 50. We've seen him do it before, and he has sometimes you look at him, you're like, this guy cannot miss. But that's a lot of weight on his shoulders. They need Garland to come back.
They do.
Man, they need someone to take the pressure off of him. They need Mobley. He's a defensive player of the year, so he's obviously gonna give, Turner, Siakam problems. So, but I would give the Pacers the experience advantage with head coach because Carlisle's been there and done that. Kenny Atkins, I know he had his run in Brooklyn for a little bit, and he's kind of been a bench coach for Golden State for a while. This is kind of his, resurgence as a head coach. And I mean, he's done great. Don't get me wrong, but this spotlight's a little bit more new to him. Being kind of like the top dog of your conference.
Yeah, most definitely. I mean, he's turned the team around for sure. But before we switch off from this, you want to elaborate on those injuries because you brought it to my attention, so I don't want to take your shine. But the injuries on the Cleveland side of the ball.
Yeah, so I don't know if they have announced yet Garland's status for game two, so that's not the greatest. So his injury is a toe sprain, which is the same that Austin Reeves had in the Lakers Timberwolves series, and Austin Reeves decided to just play through it, and they reported on his off days he would just stay off his feet so that he can only, you know, walk when he has to on game days. Um, they're going to need Hunter and Mobley to be there because they're both long and physical defenders, and without them, then you're you get a lot smaller.
For
So
sure.
without those players, man, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, and those guys have what was it? It was a thumb injury with Hunter, and then I can't remember what it was for Mobley, but I think it was ankle. That's what it was. So they're worried about them coming back. Um, yeah, I mean, Indiana, they're also not afraid, bro. They're not afraid of Rocket Arena. I ran into this stat the other day. Since the new year, Cavs are 19-7 at home, right? That's including being 0-3 straight up at home versus the Pacers. So almost half their losses at home have come by the hands of the Pacers.
Wow.
Like, so Pacers aren't afraid to go on the road this series. Also short travel. I got on Google Maps today. It's like 4 hours, 4 hour drive, and these guys are flying private. So no
Yeah.
time difference, no altitude, none of that. Like this is just go across the street and play ball. And we've won in this arena 3 times already this year. So I could definitely make a case for Cleveland. Like if you look at last game, Mitchell was able to get to the cup at will for a majority of the game, especially in the third quarter, though. I mean, he drove, what do you have, like 6 straight possessions midway through the third. And when they pulled Miles Turner away from the rim and kind of had their big man spacing, whether it's Mobley, usually it's Mobley, uh, it's not much rim protection after Turner. So
Yeah.
he has the ability to just get to the cup. And when Garland gets back, he can more than likely take advantage of that also, right? Another short, shifty guard who can get downhill. And the other thing you could say for making a case for Cleveland is the Pacers shot the lights out, right? I mean, 19 for 36 from three, 52.8%. Cleveland, 9 of 38, 23%. So I doubt they do that for 4 straight games. But at the end of the day, still about actually going out there, playing defense, defending the 3 point line, not allowing as many uncontested looks as they were, and actually capitalizing too, grabbing boards. I personally, I like the Pacers in this one. I think they take it with how the roster is constructed right now, with all the injuries that we know about. I think Pacers take it in 6. I think they went 4-2. They finish it out in Indiana. That's my pick. What do you got?
I'm still going to go Cavs. I don't know if in 6 or 7.
Okay.
So I'm leaning Cavs in 6.
Okay, all right. All right. I don't I get the case for it, right? Because the Pacers are kind of that team where everyone's saying, "Oh, they can't keep shooting like this," and I don't know, they just keep shooting like this. So we'll see for sure. Who do you think the biggest X factor is? Who's the guy who's going to tilt this series?
It's going to have. I think Halliburton has to be a consistently really good to great player this series. I don't think he can have some of those bad nights and expect to win. We know he's not a high turnover guy, so a lot of his mistakes are honestly just not scoring. So I think him being a reliable scorer is going to be very important in the series.
Yeah, I agree wholeheartedly. I think he would be my X factor too. It's all about him. I mean, yeah, like you said, he takes care of the rock. He shoots the ball at a very efficient clip, and he's one of the best passers in our league, I'd say. So as long as he's making the right read, his team's more than likely going to have success. But at the beginning of the game, I was thinking it was going to be Siakam, man. I mean, he came out banged like 3 threes, and I was like, oh shit, this is going to be one of those days. And then he kind of cooled off. Let's go to the next series though, since we got our predictions for that one. Next one in the East is the 2 seed Celtics versus the Knicks, the 3 seed. The series odds on FanDuel right now, Celtics are minus 850 to win the series. Knicks are plus 590. We're recording this 15 minutes before they tip off. And a little bit of history. Celtics swept the Knicks in the regular season series 4-0. Last game was the only one within a possession. But when you look at some of these games, not everyone plays, right? That's how it is in the NBA. You look at regular season history, it's not predictive or indicative of what you're going to see in the playoffs at all. But game 3, both teams had their full complement of players. Celtics won by 13 in Boston. Game 4 a month ago, both teams had all their guys. It was the first game Mitchell Robinson played in this season series, and it went to overtime. Celtics won by 2. Should have been 5, but Brunson hits a meaningless 3 at the buzzer. It wasn't very meaningless to Celtics -2.5 bettors like myself, but that's neither here nor there. The sentiment from the Knicks locker room after, though, was what threw me off. It was very optimistic, right? They felt like now they could hang with the big boys, and that was just weird to me because they still lost, and they were 0-8 versus the Celtics and the Cavs at that time, 0-3 versus the Thunder. So they haven't been able to hang with the big boys at all. And I just don't think this is a good matchup for the Knicks at all. But I want to hear what you think first.
I think Celtics should take care of business fairly easy. I think they'll probably let one game slip, and it'll probably be more Celtics has played very sloppy. Knicks haven't proven to beat an elite contender. I believe they're 0 and whatever against all the top seeds.
0-11. Or
Yeah, so
I guess it would be 0-7 if you do the 0-4 versus the Cavs and 0-3 versus the Thunder.
yeah, I mean, I don't trust the Knicks. I think they're going to be a tough physical team. We know how they love to play their players 40 minutes. Jalen Brunson's going to get tired. I think he got he didn't get injured, but he was getting beat up in that Pistons series a lot.
The ankle, yeah.
Yeah, and that was the same ankle that I believe it was the same ankle that he messed up in that Lakers game. But overall, I didn't check what the odds were, but I would take Celtics -2.5. I think Celtics in 5 is an easy bet. Knicks had I don't know how reliable Bridges is because some games he shoots very well, but then there's games he's 1 for. And OG, I believe OG will be reliable. Brunson's going to do his thing. You kind of just have to let Brunson do his thing. You're going to make trouble on him. But as Karl Anthony Towns, is he going to have those big games that he did against the Pistons? I mean, I don't know.
I doubt it personally, just because the length that the Celtics have. I mean, they have Horford they can throw at them. They have Porzingis they can throw at them. They have Kornet coming off the bench. Like none of those guys are bad defenders in my mind. And when you look at Brunson, you mentioned him. I mean, yeah, he's going to keep them in games on offense, but he's going to constantly be picked on defense. Like he's the weakest defender on the floor. The Celtics have 2 scoring guards, and Jaylen Brown and Derek White. They're going to try to get him in switches and take advantage of him every time they see Jalen Brunson is on him. Like that's what has happened throughout the regular season too. They don't have an answer for Tatum. I can get into those numbers. Actually, yeah, fuck it. I'll do that right now. They play this drop coverage, right? Anyone who knows basketball, it's when the screener comes up, he sets a screen. The screener's defender doesn't blitz the screen. He instead kind of hangs back and takes away the paint so that the ball handler can't just drive to the basket. So that's what they do. And I mean, against the Celtics, I don't watch enough Knicks ball to say they do this all the time against every team, but I know they do this against the Celtics, and I've seen the Celtics preparing for it, things like that. And Tatum's more than happy to shoot those mid-range jumpers when you're in drop, right? Like that's his bread and butter. He lives off those. So versus the Knicks this season, Tatum went 37, 4, and 10 on 98% shooting. It was 46 and 4. It's 40 points, 6 rebounds, 4 assists, 25, 10, 9, and then 32, 7, and 5. So throughout this whole series, I'm going to be looking at Tatum's points props and PRA, his points, rebounds, and assists, because if they switch up their coverage, I watch a lot of Celtics ball. I know Tatum will make the right read and stack up the assists, and he's always crashing the boards. He's also 20 of 38 on pull-up threes versus the Knicks. I just don't think they're contesting him like that. For context, by the way, he's just 33% on pull-up threes overall this season. So it's like a 20% increase. The guy is I don't know if he's just feeling himself when he goes against them, and Knicks think they're the new, big dogs, and he's just not having it, or it's really just the defensive strategy. And you mentioned OG Anunoby. He's the only player who really has given Tatum kind of a hard time, right? Like he's shooting 5 of 20 when guarded by OG, but they're always screening to get OG off of Tatum. So that's another matchup to watch. And if you're worried about Tatum shooting numbers dipping in that matchup, it's another reason to just take the points, rebounds, and assists. Um, but yeah, back to just the series as a whole. I think the Celtics depth is just better than the Knicks too, man. Like six man of the year coming off the bench, Pritchard, Sam Hauser, lights out shooter, and a pretty good defender, even though he's white, right? And people like to they like to shit on the white guys and say they're not a good defender. Dude, he's defending, and they'll try to go after him, but it doesn't always work out. Then you got Cornette. I just feel like those guys are giving you way more off the bench than Deuce McBride, uh, Christian Payne, and Mitchell
Campaign.
Robinson. Campaign, sorry, not Christian. I knew it started with a C. Uh, but yeah, they'll play more minutes than the Knicks guys too, right? Because Joe Mazzulla trusts them, and like you said, Tibbs is going to have his guys out there 40 minutes a night, and that's not giving your stars rest. It's more than likely they're going to get injured. We saw this last year against the Pacers. Once it came down to Game 7, they had like nobody left. I mean, I think was it Hart was on one ankle.
Yeah.
Brunson almost didn't play. Like it was pretty rough for him. And that stuff takes a toll on you. It's wear and tear. They also just played a 6-game series. So I'm with you. I like the Celtics to win by 2.5 here. Currently, the odds for that -130. -130. Yeah. So it's not a long shot at all. You got anything else on this series? You think that who do you think's the most important player, maybe?
Well, I'm not going to say anyone in the Celtics because I believe they're so deep with so many players that honestly, you can just pick someone out of a hat and they'll probably be very important. I'm going to go OG because I think he has to be a mid 20 points, like 25 points per game player, and also play elite defense for them to have a chance, like a puncher's chance.
Yeah.
Because if he's playing, okay, like 18, 20 points, that's not going to be enough.
Yeah.
I think because he's going to be so important when it comes to guarding Jaylen Brown. They're going to ask him to pick up Tatum. At times, he's probably going to be. He might find himself on Derek White. So I think he's going to be very important for them, and he's going to be someone they're going to be looking at to help get rebounds because Cat's not always in the paint.
Yeah. Self-proclaimed best shooting big man right there. He's not always in the paint. He's looking for the three. I think you make a great point, right? If you're looking at the Knicks side of the ball, and if it's how are the Knicks going to pull an upset here, it's got to start with OG. First on defense, because that's his bread and butter. It's how he
Breaking
became.
news: Kenny Atkinson, Coach of the Year.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
That's huge. Woo woo. Down 0-1. I bet you he doesn't care at all about that. Maybe they're celebrating in the locker room, though. Who knows? Yeah, for me, I think the X factor is going to be Jaylen Brown, truly. I mentioned the two shooting guards or the two scoring guards who are going to be tasked with taking advantage of that matchup versus Brunson. Brown hasn't been amazing this year. He's probably not going to make an all NBA team. He hasn't been otherworldly like he has in the last 2 years, but this is where he's going to have to step up. He's also been injured, right? And he's going to have to step up. And if it's not him, it's going to have to be Derek White. Derek White's been playing pretty well. He has his nights where he's shooting the lights out and other nights where he kind of comes back down to earth. I think those two guys are going to really be the X factors here and just exploiting that matchup versus Jalen Brunson. It's got to happen.
It will happen.
It will happen. There we go.
Celtics should. They're going to have. I think they'll probably get 2 blowouts, like decisive. I don't want to say decisive wins, and 2 close games they pull out. And I think Knicks will steal one. I think that's how it'll go.
On that one that they steal, watch Celtics are going to make like 8 threes all night. They're going to go like 8 for
Celtics
36.
are live and die by the 3 team.
For sure.
That's just how they. Hey, that's just how they're going to do it. They have 1 through 5 can shoot. Hey, that's just how.
The new meta. It's the new meta, bro. It's the NBA. Shit, I was watching a game last night. What game was it? Houston versus Golden State. 4-on-2 fast break. You think they're getting to the cup, bro?
Nah.
Nah, man. They're jacking the three. They're jacking the three. It's a numbers game nowadays. All right, let's go to the West with the Nugget. Oh, sorry, the Thunder, the 1 seed versus the Nuggets, the 4 seed. Series odds on FanDuel: Thunder minus 820, and Nuggets are plus 570. That price just seems unfathomable for the former champs. What are you thinking? You think Jokic can pull a rabbit out the hat and get them to the conference finals?
I think Jokic can make it close because he's too good. And honestly, I think Jokic will be the best player in the series, and it won't be close. I think honestly, the games they lose, it's probably gonna be Jokic's 30-point triple doubles, and he looks good, and he's looking for someone to help, but no one's there to help. But I think I would take the Nuggets plus 2.5. I think Jokic and Murray can pull out 2 wins, especially at home, because Murray's going to have a game to where he looks like, he's the best number 2 in the NBA, where he's shooting the lights out. Trust me, as a Lakers fan, I've seen it to where it seems like the guy cannot miss. And even if he's missing, he's going to make every shot in the fourth quarter, it seems. He is their closer. Jokic knows it, and everyone. I know weirdly they had Aaron Gordon getting buzzer beater dunks towards the end, and Jokic taking a lot of those end of game shots.
Yeah.
But man, with Jamal Murray, he put fear in me when I saw him with the ball in his hands with a game clock going down. So I think they
Yeah.
can steal 2 wins definitely. I would take Thunder to take it in 6, but I believe it goes 6.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw a stat the other day that said Jamal Murray has as many 40-point playoff games as regular season games. Did you hear something along those lines? Or it was very
Like
close.
40 points in the playoffs and in the regular
Like
season?
he has as many 40-point games in the playoffs as he does in the regular
Oh,
season.
I didn't know that. I
Yeah,
mean, I'm not surprised because I think he has like I don't want to say the record, but or the bet, but I know it's like a 6, 7 point difference in his points per game from regular season to the playoffs.
it's
So
nuts.
I'm not surprised. Trust me, he gave me hell for 2 straight years.
You, you you get it at this point. You've been burned enough.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, he passed Jokic with 6 40-point playoff games. It's a Nuggets playoff record. I'll find out about it being as many as he's had in the regular season. I actually saw him drop 55 when I went out there. It was, I mean, a spectacle for sure. But I was also amazed by what Jokic is doing. And to your point, man, he's definitely going to be the best player in the series. People are going to try to make it a narrative thing. Oh, the MVP front runner versus the possible runner up. I don't think it's anything like that, though. I think it's Jokic just willing his team to a victory, doing whatever it takes to win. The only thing that worries me is that the Nuggets struggle in the non-Jokic minutes, right? When he's not on the floor. And when you go to a game, or if you just watch the game, watch how every time the ball comes across half court, how quick it gets in Jokic's hand. Like he is the offense. He's the maestro. He's the magician out there. And when he's off the floor, they struggle. They struggle to even go 7 deep sometimes. I mean, the 6 man is who? It's Westbrook or Porter, and then our guy, number 8, bouncy guy. What's his name again?
Brown?
No, not Brown. Uh,
Oh, Peyton.
Peyton. Yep.
Peyton Watson.
Peyton Watson. That's it. It's really those 7. I mean, it's no one really past. And of course, they have old guy DeAndre Jordan come in for some of the non-Jokic minutes, but he's not really a factor like that. Uh, so yeah, OKC, they have the depth. They don't struggle when their star leaves the floor. And SGA, they're also much younger and less likely to get tired. And to that point, they're coming off of a 4-game series with rest compared to the Nuggets, who are coming off of a 7-game series against the Clippers. But of all the teams still alive in the playoffs, the Thunder are shooting the worst from 3 in the playoffs. They're 31.3%. They haven't been shooting the lights out at all. Nuggets, they're up there. I believe they were the third best. Yeah, third best of the teams left and third best in general. It goes Pacers, Cavs, the Nuggets. If they can get it going from three, especially Jokic, he was kind of dared to shoot the three more against Zubac and how the Clippers were guarding him. But if Michael Porter Jr. can get it going, Jokic can, and of course Jamal Murray, playoff performer, I don't see why that plus 2.5 won't hit. You brought that to my attention at the start of this, in pre-production. I'm gonna be betting that after we get off. So that's your best bet, right? Nuggets plus two and a
Yeah,
half.
I think Nuggets take it to 6. A plus value plus 2.5. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so too. Especially playing 2 games in altitude. And this is a young team. People forget Oklahoma City, they made it to the conference semis to this same round last year and got knocked out by the Mavs. But that brings me to my X factor, Jalen Williams. After last year's dismal performance in the postseason, I think he has to be the X factor going forward in every series. This year, he started the postseason off right, though. Won't lie. He's just points. He's 20, 24, 26, 23. And he's got 4 to 6 assists and rebounds in all those games, too. So when teams decide they're going to make someone else beat them besides the MVP frontrunner, SGA, he has to be the one to make them pay. If he's not doing that and the lights are too bright again, I think they easily crumble and that the Nuggets could take this one.
Yeah, I think Jalen Williams is a great pick for an X factor. That's who I would pick on the Thunder side, absolutely. On the Nugget side, man, it has to be Michael Porter Jr. Because there are games where he gets played off the floor to where, because he's not a good defensive player, and he is very reliant on it if he's making threes. Because I mean, you see when it's hard in it, he'll drive, he'll make a clutch shots. I think he's going to be huge. I think he's like 6'11". Sometimes you'd wish he played like that, but he's someone that he's like, man, I'm just going to stand at that 3-point line, and when it's my time to shoot, it's my time to shoot. I think he's going to have to be a reliable 20 points per game scorer if Nuggets want any chance of coming out this series. I think Jokic will be the best player by far in this. Not to say anything if he deserves the MVP, because I know that's always a huge discussion about how players look in the playoffs versus the regular season. But history shows voters don't care about that.
Yeah. I mean, the award's been voted on.
Yeah.
The ballots have been submitted.
Some people always get gripe. I remember when Joel Embiid won it and he stunk it up in the playoffs. It comes this thing. This is why he shouldn't have won. I remember when Giannis was winning it and he stunk it up in the playoffs, and people were like, "This is why it should have went to LeBron in 2020." But yeah, Jamal Murray's gonna have to be reliable. I'm interested to see Aaron Gordon. I wonder if they're gonna match up Chet on him. Chet's really skinny. Aaron Gordon's very big. Is he gonna try take him to the hole a lot? Aaron Gordon clearly, he's became this very reliable 3-point shooter this year.
Yeah,
so,
out of nowhere.
And Chet's someone that stays at the 3-point line himself. So I think that matchup, the Chet and Aaron Gordon matchup, will be interesting. Because I'd like to see Aaron Gordon kind of back him down. Right. Or maybe they switch Jokic on Chet and try and get him in foul trouble. I know Hartenstein, he's a bigger guy. He can hold his own.
That's what I wanted to talk to you about. So do you think that it's going to be Hartenstein guarding Jokic? Because that's what makes sense in my head, right? It's like the bigger guy on the bigger guy. Because Chet, he's probably going to get bullied by Jokic. Let's be real, right? So if you put Hartenstein on Jokic, then it's Chet guarding Gordon. And Gordon really, I mean, he's chilling in the dunker spot. He's ready for lobs all the time. Chet is going to defend most of those. I mean, he's 7'2", he's a pretty big guy. It's probably the matchup, right?
Yeah, I'm thinking Thunder are going to want Chet on the weak side to, come and help if anyone's driving. I also think Jokic is going to – the Nuggets are going to try to get Jokic in that pick and roll to where he has a bad matchup on him. And he's going to back him down, and he's looking for whoever's open for three. He's going to try and find out who it is. The Thunder want Hartenstein to stay on him because he's such a big size. He's not someone you just back down all the way to, he's under the basket. So if I'm Thunder, I want to keep him on Jokic. Keep Holmgren on the weak side. You know, try and prevent any lobs to Aaron Gordon. But it'll be
Right.
interesting how Nike's trying to game Thunder game plan. That'll be an interesting series.
For sure. And they have one of the best coaches in the game, Dagnall. And I'd be remiss to not mention their defense, bro. Like they're the best defensive team in the NBA. I don't think it's really close. And like I said at the top, man, they're deep. They got guys. They got Caruso coming off the bench, bro, giving them great minutes. That guy, I I mean, you probably like him. He helped win your team a championship. But I really like Caruso. Everything he gives to that team, the veteran leadership. I saw him in an interview recently talking about how the guys, Cason Wallace was like, "Hey man, you're the first teammate I've ever had that has a bald head." And Caruso's like, "Yeah, dude, 'cause you like just got out of high school. You're playing with high schoolers like 3 years ago." So it just goes to show like he's really that old head, veteran presence out there. And yeah, that's like a seventh man. And they got guys. So and everyone can defend at a high level. They're young, but I'm with you, man. I still like the Nuggets to steal two. And by the way, they're going to altitude. It's not easy to play in Denver. We saw the Clippers drop both of those last two games in Denver. And they dropped them pretty bad too, right? I mean, of course, game seven, but game five wasn't all that close either, if I'm remembering, right?
And SGA is not going to be able to, he cannot have a series like he did against the Grizzlies to where he's looking
Facts.
like the fourth, fifth, sixth best player on the basketball
Mhm.
court. He cannot play like that if they want to win.
100%. I saw a graphic the other day of least efficient players for each team, and he was up there for his team. Low true shooting percentage and low points per game. But they were going against the 8 seed Grizzlies, so it didn't matter. They didn't really need him like that.
Yeah.
Against the Wolves, though, or I'm sorry, against the Nuggets, you're going to need that guy. That's a really good point. All right, speaking of Wolves, let's get to the last series. Timberwolves versus the Warriors. 6 versus 7. Series odds on FanDuel. Timberwolves are minus 178 to win the series. Warriors are plus 150. I'll start this one off because this is where my best bet is. I have the Timberwolves minus 1.5 in this one. I think they get out of there in 6. And a big reason of that, or a big reason for that, is because one, the Wolves are the younger team. They only had to play 5 games, and they've been resting for about a week now. Meanwhile, the Warriors' top 3 guys, right? Jimmy, Draymond, Curry, they're all 35 or older. They just came off of a 7-game series and probably the most physical playoff series of the 2020s. Like, is that a hot take? I don't really think so.
They were fighting out there.
Yeah, legit. They were fighting. Draymond was smacking. He was kicking. They were holding Curry on every screen. And after that grueling game 7 we watched last night, Warriors got to play again in 48 hours from last night, right? And 2 of those guys I mentioned are dealing with injuries. Curry's hand, I don't know if you've seen the picture. It looks like you remember Will Smith and Hitch? Remember what his face like all swelled up and all that?
Yeah.
He hit the Benadryl. That's what Curry's hand looks like. It's just massive thumb. Jimmy, he missed game 3 due to what they call a left pelvic contusion. Had to write that down. And a deep glute bruise that he got in game 2. I think he looked like himself, after I'd say like game 4 when he got that big rebound after Draymond stopped Şengün. I think that was game 4, maybe game 5. But the real difference to me is going to be the size mismatch. We saw how the Rockets gave the Warriors trouble with their quote unquote double big lineup. I don't really like saying that because we grew up with a power forward and a center,
Yeah.
but it's what people say now. And it forced Steve Kerr to start Hacka Adams early in the series. I don't know if you remember. I think it might have been like game 2 or game 3. And he started doing that just to get Adams off the floor because Adams isn't a great free throw shooter. And he knew Ime Udoka knew that. And the Wolves have Gobert, who's 7-1. We talked about him at the top. He's liable to have one of those nights, especially if you're not going to put anybody down there to box him out. And then you got Randall, McDaniels, and Naz Reid. They're all 6'9". Those are big guys. People forget Draymond's like 6'7". Draymond's not a big guy. He plays bigger than his size, but you can only do that for so long and against so many people, right? Like I just named 4 guys that are taller than him. Kaminga, he can barely get on the floor. Quentin Post is out there serving as sort of a rim protector on defense and a spacer on O. But Houston was fine with him knocking himself out, shooting corner threes. I don't see why the Wolves wouldn't be also sag off him, clog up the lane, maybe put more attention on Curry. But yeah, it's really the size for me. It's the fact that the Wolves are the younger team, healthier team, hungrier team, in my opinion. And they have home court in this series too. So I'm going with the Wolves to win this one in 6. And yeah, maybe 5, but I like Timberwolves -1.5.
Yeah, I think Timberwolves -1.5 is the a great bet. It's one of the ones probably honestly for me, I think going to be one of the more exciting ones because I'm ready for the Draymond and Ant Edwards, trash talking.
And Rudy,
He's probably
can't
going to go
forget
ahead
Rudy.
and yeah, is Rudy going to get put in headlocks? Is it going to happen?
As I'm doing that,
I think
you get it.
Edwards is someone that can get under like Draymond's skin a little bit and kind of like he's probably going to make him like get attacked and something like that. That's what I'm. Edwards, he's one of my favorite players in the NBA. Even though he took my team out, but he's just so excited because he's going to trash talk you like no matter the score. Like he doesn't care. He's not scared of anyone whatsoever. So that I think based on the way he played the Lakers, what he's going to do, and I don't know if Warriors are going to keep rolling out Buddy Hield as a starter, or they're going to bring back Pods, or is Gary Payton going to take back over? But he's gonna call screens until he gets Curry on him because that's what he did with Luka. He's like,
Right.
man, he's gonna have the ball at top of the key, screen. If they switch, come on, screen back. I'm getting Luka on me 1-on-1, and he likes to take a lot of threes, but there are times where he drove to the basket. And the thing about that hurt the Lakers, and I think can hurt the Warriors, they don't really have a rim protector. And so what it forced the Lakers to do was so they didn't blitz him at the top of the key a lot. So I'm wondering if Warriors try to do that to get the ball at his hands immediately, or are they going to let him drive, stack the paint, and he's going to start kicking it out to guys. And at that point, you're just hoping that those guys miss threes. I think Rudy Gobert, I'll start right now. He's going to be my X factor. You saw what he did games 1 through 4 against Lakers were not good at all. I think he averaged 6 points, 3 rebounds against Lakers, but then you saw him run off, 27 and 24 at the end. They're going to need, I don't want to say necessarily 27 points and 20 plus rebounds, but they're going to need 15 rebounds because you're going to have the opportunities. You saw what Steven Adams just did.
Right.
He was able to get his. Şengün was able to get his rebounds. Like you're going to have the chances to get offensive rebounds, and I think that's going to hurt the Warriors a lot. Like you cannot keep giving the T-Wolves multiple shots to make a basket. I think Naz Reid is going to be key. I want to say in the Lakers case, he missed 1 shot total in the 4th quarter. And Edwards said that's their clutch player is Naz Reid. McDaniels, he's going to be probably a lot of the times on Curry a little bit, and also Jimmy Butler, I expect.
Yeah, that's what I would expect too.
Yeah, and I think they're going to be reliant heavily on Gobert to get those boards. I mean, if Gobert gets played off the court completely, I think it gets a lot more even with size-wise because they're going to probably play Naz Reid at the 5, maybe. They're going to bring Alexander Walker, who's a good bench player. I know he didn't have the greatest series versus the Lakers, but I think he's still reliable. They got DiVincenzo. Every time I looked up, he was taking out a Laker, injuring them, or he was making a bucket. But I mean, I don't know, man, because he took out LeBron. LeBron got sprained MCL or something like that.
Yeah. Game 5.
Luka was getting knocked up the head. Man, it'll be interesting because I think Warriors are going to need some bench players to step up. I don't Pods. He's had some games. I don't know how much because they like to switch that starting two guard a lot. They started Pods games. Buddy Hield. I'm not going to expect Buddy Hield to have these glorified, 30-point games where he's shooting the lights out. I think it was like 80% field goal percentage or something. It was something
He
crazy.
made 9 threes. That much I know. 9 threes last night.
Yeah, man. And also, I think key is Julius Randle going to be who he was versus the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Because he was known for, in his playoff career, being a playoff dropper.
Right.
And then in the Lakers, he was like, I'm going to put the ball on the floor. I'm going to back it. I'm going to hit a fadeaway in the paint. I'm going to hit a three. And he was doing that. I know he would get in foul trouble at times. But,
Yeah.
I mean, Luka's going to draw fouls. I know Jimmy Butler's capable of drawing fouls. But other than that, they don't have a lot of like guys that draw. Steph, surprisingly, he doesn't draw as many fouls as you think he probably should.
Not in that Rockets series.
Relying on that. He probably should have gotten to free throw line more because they were grabbing him and they're physical. I think the difference between T-Wolves and Rockets are probably a little bit better defensively, but far away offensively. But
Right.
I think Ant can give them hell because he can give you 40 any night. Like Ant's gonna have a bad game to where he's drops less than 20. It's gonna happen. It happens almost every series that he's in, where he's gonna look great, drop 40, drop 15.
Yeah. Like that game 5.
Yes, but at that same time, it didn't even matter because they had someone else.
Mm-hmm. They had Rudy. They had, I'm pretty sure, what's his name also played pretty. Randall played well. Randall played well that
Randall
whole
played
series.
excellent that
Yeah.
series. Yeah, dude, he was giving me. I was like, where did this come from? Because I saw him play playoff series in the Knicks, and
Yeah.
they said he couldn't dribble to the right.
It was bad. It was bad. But I think it was a little extra motivation for him against the team that let him go at first, against LeBron. These are guys that, I mean, when he got drafted to the Lakers, those guys were there, right? Or LeBron wasn't there yet, but he
Yeah, I
ended up,
think it was just before
it was
Braun
just
got there.
right. He probably felt like, they got rid of me for this guy. Bet. Let me show him a little something. I think that's a really good X factor. Rudy and Randall. Mine was Draymond, right? I think he has to keep his composure going up against his nemesis, Rudy Gobert. He really hates that guy. I mean,
He hates European big men.
100%. They all just get under his skin, or maybe he thinks they're just easy pickings and just wants to take advantage of them. But he's mentioned how he cried when he didn't win defense or when he didn't make the All-Star team. He fried him for that. Then he fried him for it 3 years later. And we've seen him put him in headlocks. I just think if Draymond, if he's tossed in any of these games, like you can immediately chalk it up as a loss. That's they won't have enough size down low. They won't be able to facilitate their offense like they want to because Draymond is a facilitator, right? Like what did I hear? I heard Simmons call him something the other day. It was better than a glue guy. I'm forgetting the name, but the offense kind of runs through him. Curry loves getting those dribble handoffs from Draymond. So he's going to be the X factor. But, if I already said I have the Wolves -1.5, I think the guy who really is going to make a difference, like you said, is Rudy Gobert. He's going to have to play to his size, be a lob threat like he was in that game versus LA, game 5. And
Hey, they're gonna run screens with Draymond and Curry, and he's gonna be there,
mhm,
and so he's gonna have to,
he's going to have to hold his own. I felt like he
yeah, because
did.
they're gonna get some ISOs with Curry on Gobert, and he did well against Luka,
Exactly.
but Luka doesn't shoot like Curry, honestly.
That's for sure. No one shoots like Curry.
Yeah,
No one
no,
shoots. We know
it's
that.
gonna be a little bit harder to guard him. He's shiftier. He can
Mhm.
get past you a lot easier. But he did well against Luka when he was called out to do an ISO. It was frustrating because it seemed like Luka was a little bit obsessed with ISO because he hit that one big shot in the Mavs T-Wolves series where he was
Mhm.
cursing at him.
Yeah, running back. He wanted to like relive that moment. I mean, shoot, I'm pretty sure he said that was his favorite moment of the tribute video that they showed for him in Dallas. That was his That was the one he remembers. Well, all right. So we both have Timberwolves -1.5. You like the Nuggets +2.5. I also endorse that in the series. We didn't have anything for the East. We like the Celtics, of course. It's not much value. I mean, I'm looking at the odds right now. Celtics -2.5 is, I just had it up. Oh, the game's on, so it's gone. It was -130 though. That's what it was.
That's insane.
I know. For
To
them to
like,
win either 4-1 or sweep is -130. So I'm
mhm.
not going to give out anything on that. I like the Pacers, man. I like them a lot. I'm not gonna be looking to bet them in game two. I'm actually gonna read a little actionable stat for the audience right here, if I can pull it up. Yeah, so this is from Klevda on Twitter or X. The tweet reads, 34 teams since '07 have lost game one straight up in a playoff series when favored by 7 or more. Those teams are 30-4 in game two and cover 65% of the time. The
Hmm.
88% win percentage versus a pregame win expectancy of 79%. 14 teams like the Cavs lost by 8+ in game one, and those teams went 14-0 straight up in game two. 64% against the spread, +3.4 ATS margin. So, with that being said, I think it is a prime get back spot for the Cavs. I also don't think that the Pacers are going to shoot, what was it, 19 of 36 in the Cavs building again. So, but I do like the Pacers to win this series, even if they drop one in Cleveland, because they already won the one they needed, right? You got to win
Yeah,
one.
that's the thing. When it comes to underdogs, they always say, we just got to win. We just got to win one on their home.
Hmm.
So, and a lot of times it seems like, well, were they just satisfied with that one win? Because that happens a lot, where you just seem like, oh, we got the one. It don't even matter. That's kind of
Right.
like how it was when I'll say when the T-Wolves beat the Lakers. They blew them out in the first game. Then Lakers kind of held them to like 10 points the entire second game, and it was like felt like, well, we got one.
Right. Right.
Some teams like to take their foot off the pedal when they win that game one.
Yeah. Can't have that. Can't have that for sure. But I think, like we said earlier, they're not afraid to go in there. I think they've already got 3 wins on their home court already. Think they can do it. They could do it again. You got anything else? Anything else you want to get off your chest? I know we were talking about Harden before. You don't have to air all that out, but you got anything you want to say before we get out of here?
And I just it's hard to see a world where it's not Thunder Celtics and Thunder end up being kind of that young team, kind of how they were in 2012, where a really good team but just too young to win it. It's hard to see a world where that doesn't happen. I think the T Wolves have the best chance to disrupt that from happening. I can't really see anyone besides the Celtics coming out of the East. I know the Cavs are a good team, but you know, experience matters in situations like this, especially when you're talking about trips to the finals. The
Yeah.
Celtics have that. It, as a Lakers fan, I'm praying there's a situation in which the Celtics don't win the finals.
Oh,
It's
get out of
hard
here.
to find one.
It
I'll
is.
say I think Jokic will be the best player in that his series. That's going to make people go crazy. And
Mhm.
it's like, well, this he should have won the MVP. No, he shouldn't have. It's the tale as old as time. It's call it what you want. It's voter fatigue. Happens to every single superstar. You could say Jordan should have won more, LeBron should have won more, everyone should have won more, but they get tired of it. It gets boring when you vote the same person over and over and over and over.
Right.
So it is what it is. Um, People don't talk about Kawhi enough. He didn't show up that much either, besides that one game where he couldn't miss in that Clippers series. But a lot of people always leave him off the hook. I won't, because I remember those commercials they were having about this is his town. Those New Balance commercials. I'll never forget that. I became a Kawhi hater when he chose the Clippers or the other series. Um, I'm trying to get the series that were completed. Lakers, please get a big man, Miles Turner. Give him a blank check.
They've
Fire
been
off.
wanting him for a while, from what I've heard.
They've
They're in
been
the
trying to
talks.
trade for Miles Turner and Buddy Hield for as long as I can remember. And it's just like, you better give us everything in the bag of chips.
Yeah. They're like, we need something like that Luka deal y'all just got. We need
Who
something like
else
that.
lost? Pistons.
Young.
You're just a gritty young team. You're gonna have to get some more guys. You're gonna need a Cade's obviously gonna ascend. Um, who else lost? Who else lost?
The Magic.
Magic. You need a guard, man. I
Yeah.
don't know what to tell you. You
Well,
need
they have one. I mean, they had Suggs and he got hurt.
they're not good. They're not good enough offensively.
Very
Great
true.
defensively, not good enough
Yep.
offensively. Rockets, trade for a star. Trade for Giannis if you can. See if
Mhm.
Giannis is available, and you got to go get him. Jalen Green, he's looking like the Darko of that draft, where all the people around him look nice.
All right.
You had that one game, you're like,
138 points. You're like, oh shit, okay, everything's fixed.
and they figure you out real quick.
Mm-hmm.
You had to. They got to get better at guard. I know we've had some our arguments. I think me, you, and Ford.
Yeah.
Absent how deep they are at guard, I disagree. They're not that deep at guard. Thompson's going to be very good. He needs to get a jump shot. He has to get a jump shot. He's
Definitely.
him and his brother are so good defensively. They're going to be first team all defensive players in the future.
Mhm.
I don't know if they will this year. Maybe, maybe not.
Thompson, I could see second team.
Yeah, but
I'm in.
Thompson
Yeah,
has
I'm
to
in,
get a
yeah.
jump shot. He has to start being, that guy Shingun can't be so soft.
Yeah.
Everyone wants to call you Jokic 2.0. You're not him. You got to be your own guy. Yeah, were you the Reed Shepard guy?
Yeah, I'm the Reed Shepard guy here in the flesh.
Reed
No,
Shepard, not the
Reed
answer.
Shepard needs
I
to
don't
play.
care what anyone tells you. Reed Shepard, like people.
They didn't tell me. I watched.
Austin Reeves because they kind of look the same. No, they're not. Austin Reeves is a 20 points per game player.
The classic white on white comparison. They love doing that.
White
Look,
on white guys with like bowl cuts.
I like Reed. I watch a lot of college ball. As longtime listeners know, I just know Ime Udoka. Ime Udoka is not going to play rookies, especially rookies that cannot defend. That is not his thing. So that's why I don't think Reed got the shine that he should have gotten, because he's not going to put you out there if you can't defend and if you're young and not ready for the moment. That's why Thompson and Van Vliet and who's the other guard I'm blanking on was starting over him, right? And it's really not that many. So you're right. They're not that deep. But it's just the fact that he's young. He's a rook. How often do you see the third pick go down to the G League? Like that doesn't happen. But with Ime, it's like, dude, this guy can't defend. He's like 6'2". He's a short guard. I think give him some time. He's going to be the offense that they need. That's what I think.
We'll see. Oh, last team, Bucks. You're in purgatory.
Oh, yeah.
That's not a place you want to be. You either trade everything for a superstar or you trade Giannis. Because otherwise, Giannis is going to be in the same situation that Dame was in Portland. You're good enough to make the playoffs. You look great. Giannis a little bit greater than what Dame was, respectfully.
For sure. And they have nothing to trade. Sorry to cut you off, but they have nothing to trade, bro. They have none of their draft picks for the next 6 years. They have the least favorable of swaps, and they've given picks away too in there too.
This is a point in time. Accept the tank. You have to do it.
Giannis, what are you tanking for if you don't even have your picks? You can't get them back.
Get rid of Giannis.
It's got to happen, right?
You have to.
Yeah.
Because Giannis always talks about playing. He wants European players to go to big markets. He constantly talks like that. You're going to say, all right, who wants him?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Dame's Dame don't know. He's collecting $50 million respectfully on the injury.
Right.
I mean, he's not going to play next year. He'll obviously never be the same because he's going to be in that age. And especially, I remember as a Laker fan seeing Kobe go down with an Achilles, and that broke my heart because he was a 27 points per game player. It's never the same because that age is going to get to you, especially when you come off an injury like that. I know.
100%.
Yeah,
I wonder if we've seen him play the last bit of basketball. Some people are saying, no, he's not going to go out like that. But
I mean, you don't got much choice. Sometimes not everyone's LeBron James where you get to play into your 40s.
Exactly. And not have major injuries like that, too.
Yeah.
Because people forget it a lot.
Hit you at that age, man.
Yeah.
That's it for my losers playoff rant.
I needed it. Thank you for that. We'll do this again. We'll try to get we were supposed to have a third guest. We'll try to get him on here for the conference finals breakdown. We'll only have 2 games then, or 2 series, and we can go a little more in depth. Maybe have a few more best bets, or maybe not because only 2 games. But I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your time, brother, and look forward to doing it again.
I appreciate you having me, man.
Yes, sir. I think that's how I'm gonna end the show. Also, thank you all for listening. Sincerely appreciate it, and tune back in about 2 weeks for the conference finals preview. Until then, talk to you soon.